In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this automation that is a niche hunter, and it will find niches for you, tag those niches with high-performing keywords, and organize everything into a database. I'm going to show you step-by-step how to build this, so it's a great automation to learn. If you're getting into automation and building cool stuff, this is definitely the video for you. So before we get into the build, let me show you how it works. So I'll run you through how this one works real quick. I'll just add in a new record here. I can put in any kind of niche I want. Let's just say something like Vikings, and we can have a subject of focus. Let's just say how to make money selling Viking stuff. Why not? And hit start. Now this automation is going to run through. It's going to pull in a list of niches. You can see we are generating niches. I can come up here to the sub niches tab, and we've got 10 new Viking sub niches for how to make money. Viking home decor, Viking inspired clothing, handcrafted jewelry. I think I'll choose this one, handcrafted Viking jewelry. I'll come over here and assign it to our new project. This is the one right here, Vikings, how to make money selling stuff. Come back into the projects, and now we have that sub niche in here. I'm going to copy and paste this sub niche, create a new record. Just click in here, paste that sub niche right there, handcrafted Viking jewelry, run the automation again, generating niches. This will pop up some sub niches into the sub niche tab. There it is, ready to check them out. And you can see these new niches being generated. And so we have some interesting handcrafted jewelry options we could look at. Viking rune necklaces. Let's pop that one into the project. So we've got handcrafted Viking jewelry and specifically Viking rune necklaces. I'm going to copy and paste just to take it one more step further. Copy and paste Viking rune necklaces, see what we get. I'll run the automation and get another sub niche in here. We can watch these pop in as they come in. And so we have different sub niches for Viking rune necklaces, DIY Viking rune necklace kits. I'll just assign this to the new project, and you can see right there we've got an interesting way to make money with Viking stuff. We can start selling DIY Viking rune necklace kits. Now, just as an example of what these keywords and stuff actually mean, I'm going to copy and paste one of these, and we can see what this looks like for a video score. I'll just paste in Viking rune necklaces. There we go. So if you started making videos around Viking rune necklaces, your videos would do pretty well on YouTube. So the other thing we can look at here, if we come to the tags, these are all the tags that get automatically generated and assigned to all the new sub niches. So this list will build out pretty quickly. And back into the sub niches, you can see all of these sub niches that generated just in my time practicing and testing this automation. These are all the sub niches that got generated. So if we want to actually search a sub niche that we have in our database, we can come up to the filter, search for tags, has any of, and we can search for any of these tags and find those sub niches. So let's just say I wanted to do, I'll type in something here, kiteboarding. There's a kiteboarding tag. I was looking up some kiteboarding niches. And so these are all the sub niches we can assign to a project and keep building out more and more sub niches. I haven't taken this too far, too many levels. This is, 3 levels deep into the Viking niche here. I haven't seen how deep we can go, how super, super niche we can get. If you want to find these really small pockets of customers, find these small pockets of people, this is a great tool to find some of these really interesting niches. So let's actually get into building this thing. And I'd just like to point out that if you are into building automations, learning how to construct these types of tools, I have a brand new school community. It's a growing community. And if you join the community, you'll have access to all of my automation templates for free. Whether you just want to snag these templates and start using the automations, or you're actually truly trying to learn how to build automations, I do recommend working from a template. I'll put the link down in the description. If you want to head over to my school community, you can check it out. But for now, let's get into the build. All right, we're going to jump right in, start this one off in Airtable. If you do not have Airtable, I will put my affiliate link for Airtable and make.com down in the description of this video. You can grab them right there from me. I know it's hard to invest in new tools and new services all the time with all this new stuff coming out, but Airtable has certainly replaced a lot of the tools I was using before. So I'm in my Airtable dashboard. These are all of my bases here. I'm going to come up and just click this create button here and start from scratch. So I like to start off with a totally blank space. All these default things pop up. I'm just going to close some of this and actually get rid of some of these default fields. I'm going to hold Shift on the keyboard and click on these 3 default fields, right click on any of them and delete 3 fields. Then we can start naming everything we've got set up. So the base name, I'm going to change this to Niche Hunter and Tagger Demo. Now we can also change some of the settings up in here. I'll just set this one to this teal color. This first default table, we can double click on this and name it Projects. Click Save. We can name this first view All Projects. Just double click on all of these items to rename them. And we can rename this field to project ID or just ID. Now, if we want to edit a field, we can just come back up and double click on it. I'm going to edit this one to be auto number field. This will create a unique ID for each of the records that pops up in here. For example, if I create a new record, this will be record number 4, but then I can delete these 4 blank records and the next one that pops up will actually be number 5. So this will continue to build out unique ID records for your Airtable base. So we'll keep that one and we can build out some of the other fields here. So the first field, I'll click the plus. We're going to add a new field and name it Enter Niche here. This will just tell you where to enter in your information that you want to get searched, and we'll keep it a single line text and create the field. Next field we're going to create, click the plus. This one we can call subject of focus. If you want to get more detailed about what you want to search for, we can call this one subject of focus. Now, the automation that we're going to build out will take in either the niche and or take in the subject of focus. So we can have just the niche or just the subject of focus or both, and we will search for all of those. Next field, click the plus. We'll call this one status, set it to a single select, and we'll add in some options here. The first one is generating niches, ... and you can change the color here. The next option is assign sub-niche, and the third option, we can call it assigned to project. Let's create the field. And now before we can enter in too much more here, we have to build out some other things. Let's start off with a new table. Come up here, click the plus, start from scratch, and we'll call this table sub niches. So same thing, I want to clean up my space here, rename everything. I'll name this view all niches, and this will be the ID, the niche ID. And let's double click on that one again. Let's actually set it to the auto number field. Great. Now delete these 3 default fields. I'll select these, right click, delete 3 fields, and we can click the plus, create a new field. This will be sub niche. This is going to be a single line text. Let's create the field, create a new field. This will be created time. So we'll just show the time this record was created. Let's create a new field. This will be a long text, and let's name it description. Now, just after the created field, let's add in a link to our projects table over here. Okay, we're going to right click on the created field, say insert right. Let's name this field project, and it is going to be a link to another record in the projects table. Let's click on that. We do not want to allow linking to multiple records, and we can create the field. Now we don't need to add any lookups. We can just skip this and we have our link to our project table. Now we need to add some more stuff in here, but again, we don't have that stuff to add. So we're going to create a new table. This one will start from scratch, call it tags. Same thing, I'll delete out these 3 records. I'll name this grid view to tags, and I'll name this name to tag name or tag. Now we've created this table and we have a new field, so we can come back into sub niches and link to that new field. Let's right click on the project field, insert right. This will be called tags, and we want to link to another record that will be in the tags table. And we do want to allow linking to multiple records, and click create field. We can also skip this and leave that out. So there we go. We're setting up our niches. Looks pretty good. Let's head back to the projects tab, and in the projects tab, we can see we have that sub niches connection right here. So let's right click on this sub niches connection and add a lookup field. Lookup field is the sub niche. You can add that field. Now this is simply just going to be the names from this field. We just want to have a reference and look at those names and titles. So what we can do is hide this field right here, right click on it and come down to hide field. So this will be the sub niche names. So we're going to name this field to sub niche and click save. Great. So we can slide this sub niche down to be in between subject to focus and status. And now after sub niche, we need to add a new field, but we don't have the information quite yet that we want to add in. So we need to start building out the automation. Let's jump over to make.com. So here I am in my make.com dashboard. If you don't have Make yet, I'll put my affiliate link down in the description. You can take a look at that and get Make from me. And Make is pretty cool. It is free to use. You can set up some scenarios on the free plan. I pay this amount right here for extra operations and doing a lot of different stuff just because I have a lot of scenarios that I'm running, but you can run Make with a couple scenarios completely free if you want to check this out. Once you're in your dashboard, you can come up here to create new scenario. And let's immediately put in our first module right here. It's going to be a webhook. In the search bar down here, you can type in webhook and that will pop up that module for you. It's going to be a custom webhook and we want to add a webhook. Then we'll name this webhook. I'll call mine Run Niche Hunter Demo and save it. Now we have our webhook. Click OK. Straight away, come down here, click Save, then come up here to name this automation, and I'll name it Niche Hunter Tagger Demo. Then head down here to flip on the automation. We'll just flip it on and start using it as we build it out. And one more time, just in case, click Save. All right, so now we have the information started that we can put back into Airtable. Let's go back to Airtable and we can set up the other field here. So on the sub niche, I'll right click on that to insert a new field to the right. This will be a button. We're going to call this start or run or go or hunt for niches or whatever you want. I'll just say start and it's going to be a button and I'm going to call my button start. I'll set the style for my button. Just change it to a solid cyan. And we want to make sure we're opening a URL. Now the URL, I'll paste in a formula down here for you. There it is. You can copy this, but I'll show you a trick here if you don't feel like typing things out, which I never do. You can take a screenshot. I'll just take a screenshot of this code right here. I'll come into ChatGPT, drop that screenshot right in there and say, please write this formula. There it is. Copy the code, come back into Airtable, and again, we can paste that code right there. Now we need to enter in the webhook. So I'm going to come back into Make, click on the webhook, and copy this URL to the clipboard, and click Cancel or OK. Head back to Airtable, and just before this question mark, right after this quote, paste in that webhook and you can create the field. Your webhook is going to be unique to your scenario. My webhook is unique to my scenario. Create the field. And now we have a button that will run that automation right here in the record. Before we start really getting into that automation, let's actually just enter in a niche right here. I'll go ahead and just put something digital concept art. And maybe the area of focus is, I don't know, how to make money as an environment artist. So now we've got some information to work with in the automation. So let's head back to Make and we'll build this thing out. From our first webhook, we can click the plus, add a new module. The next module is going to be another webhook, but it's going to be the webhook response. And in this module, we're just going to type in a script right here. You can just copy this as I have it. And what the script will do is we'll just close a new window that pops up when you run this webhook. We don't actually need that window, so it just closes it as soon as it pops up. We can click OK, and now let's run this automation to get this information coming through. Make sure your automation is on. I'll click Save and back out of here so we can watch the automation run. I head back into Airtable. Now we can click the Start button and run the automation. Here's that window that pops up and it automatically closes with that short script. So that ran the automation one time. Let's go back into Make. If we click the little bubble right here, we have that information coming through. That's the record ID from Airtable coming into Make. We can continue the automation. Let's click the plus here. We're going to use Airtable. Again, you can type it in the search bar to find Airtable. We want to get a record. Now you're going to set up a new connection with Airtable. Click the Add button here. Choose the connection type. It's OAuth. Name the connection whatever you want. I'll name it Hunter Tagger Demo. Click Save. It's going to ask you for authorization, so we can add a base. Find your Airtable base. Mine is Niche Hunter Tagger Demo. Grant access. And now the new connection will pop up in here, and we can add actual base into this field. Click that. Click your base. Choose the table. The table we want is the projects table, and the record ID is going to be the record ID from the webhook. You can click OK. Now before we move on to the next module, let's run this again and get all the information through into this Airtable module. So I'll come down here, click Save. I'll back out so we can watch it. Come into Airtable and hit the Start button. That'll run the automation so I can jump back into Make, and we see it came all the way through. We have that information, my niche and my subject of focus coming through from Airtable. So click the plus, we can add a new module. Next module is going to be Airtable again to update a record. We're going to choose that account you just created. Mine is the Niche Hunter Tagger Demo, and it will ask you to update your permissions. We're only working with half the permissions, so we need to grant access. Add a base, choose your base, grant access, and that same connection will pop up right here. Let's choose the base. We'll choose the table. It's the projects table. The record ID is from the webhook. And all we're doing in this update is changing the status. So uncheck the map button, and we can set the status to what we entered in Airtable. So we want to set it to generating niches. That'll just tell us we're actually doing the generation. Come down, click OK. We can add the next module. This is going to be ChatGPT. You can search for it in the search bar. Create a completion. This is just creating a regular prompt as you would type in normally to ChatGPT, but we're doing it through make.com. Now you're going to have to set up your ChatGPT connection here. You can click Add and use the online help to set up your connection with ChatGPT. Once you do that, then we can fill out the rest of this module. So we want to use the GPT-4o model. Now we can come down, just enter in 0 for the max tokens. And for the message, you'll want to copy what I have here. This will be the role of the assistant, and the message I'll paste in from my other project and expand it out so you can see it. So you can copy this message here, do the ChatGPT trick if you want. We just need this text to be exactly like this, especially this information down here. However, we do need to replace these broken links. So I'll delete out this enter niche here, and I'll put in the new enter niche here. And I'll delete out this subject of focus and enter in this new subject of focus here. All right, once that is done, we can scroll down and click this Show Advanced Settings button. This will let you enter in all the advanced settings for ChatGPT. We don't need to worry about any of this except this response format. Click into that and select JSON object. Make sure parse response is no, and click OK. Now we need to run the automation to get all that information through and into ChatGPT. So I'll come down, I'll click Save, back out so we can watch it run, head into Airtable and click Start. Now we should see this automation pop up. It is generating the niches. And if we head back into Airtable, we'll see that we'll have run through. If we click into this bubble, you'll see the result. We generated 10 sub-niche with their descriptions. So we can move on to the next module, click the plus. This will be a JSON module. You can type in JSON, find JSON, and we want to parse JSON. Now you don't have to know what any of this means yet, but we do need to add the result from ChatGPT. Let's click OK. And now we want to get everything into this JSON module. Once again, I'll come down, click Save. It's going to say transformer should not be the last module. Save anyway. Head back to Airtable. Click Start. Don't worry that this is still saying generating niches. We haven't told it to do anything else yet. Just click Start. Jump back into Make. Now if we back out, we can see those have run through. I can check the JSON module, and those are now organized into their own sections of data. Pretty cool. Let's click the plus, continue on. The next module is going to be an iterator. It's up here in the corner, but we can also find it in the flow control iterator. And for the array, we're going to pass in the array of sub niches and descriptions, 10 niches and 10 descriptions through the iterator. Select that, click OK, and now let's run it once again to get everything into the iterator. I'll come down, click save, save anyway, back out, head to Airtable, click start, back to make, and we can watch it run, generate those niches, and put everything through. There we go. So now we can check the iterator. Everything is in here. We've got the sub niche with the description, everything organized now into its own piece of information. Let's add a new module. This is going to be ChatGPT, create a completion. And for this, should have the same connection pop up from the last module. And for this model, we can use the 4.0 mini for this text generation. For max tokens, straight away come down, put in 0. And for the message, again, we'll take on the role of the assistant. And you can copy what I have here. Let me expand it for you. And just to make sure these links are not broken, they will probably pop up correctly, but just to make sure, I'll delete out these links and replace them with the same links from the flow control iterator. Okay, go ahead, get that copied in and click OK. Now to distinguish what these two things do, I can right click on this ChatGPT module, click rename, call this one Tagger, right click on this one and call this one Hunter. All right, now that these are named and organized, we can add the next module. It's going to be Airtable, and we want to create a record. So we'll use our same Airtable connection, the base, choose the table. This will be sub niches. And for the sub niche field, we can add the sub niche from the iterator. For the description, we can add the description from the iterator. And then for the tags, we need to map the tags in here. Click this map button. We're going to use a function to split out these tags and write them into this section here. So we need to come up to this A, choose split function. And now we need to choose the text that we're going to split. The text we want to split in here, in between the first parentheses and the semicolon. Come back into your module options, click the star right here. We want to split out the result from ChatGPT. So we'll put in the result and we want to split the result. Same thing as in this handy example here. We want to split that result with commas. Okay. Don't have to know how this function works. Just write it in like that. And then we want to come down here and hit yes for smart links. Click OK. Then we actually want to go back and add an Airtable module. Just add in a new Airtable module right here. I can right click on this route, say add a module. This will be Airtable. This will be update a record. Make sure you have the same connection. Choose the base, choose the table. The table will be projects and the record ID will be that record ID from the webhook. And we'll simply just set the status in this one to assign sub niche, hit OK, and that will set up the automation. I'll click save, come up here, back out. We can watch it run, head into Airtable, and now we should get this full automation sequence to go through. Let me just manually change the status over here. And one thing we can set is a simple automation that will set this status to assigned once this field has been filled in. So we can do that in Airtable. Let's come up to the automations tab. We'll add a trigger when a record matches conditions. And those conditions, we want to check the table here. The table is going to be the projects. The condition is when sub niche is not empty. We have some information in the sub niche. This automation will run. And what we want to do, click on advanced logic or action here, is update a record in the table projects. The record ID is going to be the record ID of that same record that's being affected. You don't have to know how that all works, but we just need to choose that same Airtable record ID. And the field we want to update is the status, and we'll just set the status to assigned to project. We are finished with that niche. Let's come up here, name the automation, auto assign, or something like that. Let's go ahead and flip on the automation, make sure it runs straight away. And now we can run this automation. Let's just reset this status and click start. Now you can see this pop up to generating niches. If we head over to the automation, we'll see that generated come through, and now it's populating those new niches, high performing keyword tagging them. So if we head back into Airtable, the status has changed to assign sub niche, and we can head to the sub niches table and check out the 10 new sub niches that got generated. So what I'm going to do is just delete out these blank records that were created when we started this table. And now you can see we have the 10 new records and their unique record IDs. This is how many records I've generated just in building this automation and testing it out. So it will continue to create a unique record ID the more records you have in here. All right, so we're in the sub niches table. We've got our sub niche generated. We can organize this thing by date and time. So let's come up here, click sort, click created, and latest to earliest. So all of your most recent generations will be on top, and all your previous generations will be listed out in this library. We can also see that the tags were automatically generated and assigned to each of these sub niches. See the art tag popping up, which is great because all of these have to do with art. It's in the name. So all of these got tagged. If we look at our tags table over here, we can see all of the tags that got generated. Same thing when we started this table, we had 3 blank records. I'll just delete these out. Art was number 1, freelance, portfolio, digital, NFTs, environment art. All these keyword tags got generated and placed into this library. And these are the actual IDs that these tags are assigned to. We don't necessarily need to see this in this tags library. So we can right click on that field and hide the field. That way, this table is only built out with our tag library. Okay, so we head back into the niches, and now we can just pick one of these niches we want to use. These are all great. So starting a YouTube channel as an environment artist, I love that one. Let's check it out. And we can come over here to assign it to a project. If we click into the projects field, click the plus, we can see that project that we have right here. ID number 5 called Digital Concept Art, How to Make Money. Double check our projects. Yep, project ID number 5. That's the information right there. So we can assign this starting YouTube channel to our project. Another thing we want to do in this table is come up to group, and we want to group everything by projects. That way, when you assign something to a project, it'll drop out of the main list and not be available for adding to other projects. It is already assigned. You don't want to be overlapping and doing the same work more than once. You want to be creating unique content, right? So these are all the empty projects. These have not been assigned to a project yet. And so as you continue to build out this list, you'll have hundreds of niches in here that you can choose from and assign them to a particular content creation project that you're working on. Great. Now that niche is assigned to a project, let's come back into the projects tab, and we see that sub niche right there. We are all assigned, and you can start your content work on this particular niche. You can literally just start making content about how to start a YouTube channel as an environment artist, and your content will perform well. So just to demo this out, let's quickly do another one. So I'll just add in another niche here. Let's say we want to make content about kiteboarding and best destinations to travel for kiteboarding. That looks great. So I entered in the niche. I had a subject. Let's just hit start. This will run. Should say generating niches. Looks great. When this changes to assign niches, we can go up here and assign those niches. We can see those new titles coming in here. We have 10 new niches to choose from. Year-round kiteboarding destinations, budget-friendly, best kiteboarding destinations for beginners. Let's assign that one to a project, and you can see that project in here. Project ID number 6, kiteboarding. It'll drop out of this list and into a project down here. Check the projects, And there we are. We can start our content on that new project. So that's it for this one. Congratulations on your brand new Niche Hunter high performing keyword tagging machine. I'd love to see some of the content creation projects you guys turn out. I'm always interested in seeing new content. You can drop me links. I love looking at it. And I hope to see you in the Skool community where we can work on automations together. So if you have something in mind that you want to build for a new automation or content creation workflow, head over there and we can put it together. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.